My name is Blake and I am 64 years old. For 42 years, I worked as a construction supervisor. I built homes for other families while slowly paying off my own. My hands are rough, my back aches when it rains, and there's a permanent stiffness in my fingers that never truly fades. But every scar on my skin tells a story of sacrifice. I believed sacrifice guaranteed security. I was wrong. The illusion of rest. My retirement party was simple but warm. My coworkers clapped as they handed me a small plaque engraved with the words, "For a lifetime of dedication." I smiled for the photo, but deep down I felt uneasy. Work had structured my days, defined my purpose. Without it, who was I? Still, I looked forward to something else, family. My son Daniel and his wife Claire had moved into my house a year earlier after their small business failed. I didn't hesitate when they asked. "This is your home," I told them. "As long as I'm alive, you'll never be without a roof." The house was more than brick and cement. It was where my late wife Margaret and I had raised Daniel. She had died 8 years earlier after a quiet battle with illness. Losing her had hollowed me out, but hearing footsteps in the hall again felt like life returning. At least at first. Small cracks. After I retired, the tone inside the house shifted. Claire began making small remarks. "So now you'll just be here all day?" she asked once, pretending to joke. "I suppose so," I replied lightly. "Plenty of repairs to catch up on." But her smile tightened. I noticed how she rearranged furniture without asking me, how she complained about space, how she lowered her voice when discussing finances with Daniel. I heard my name more often, never kindly. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Claire stood before me in the living room. Her arms were folded. Daniel stood slightly behind her. "We need to talk." 3 words that never lead anywhere good. "There's no place for you in this house anymore," she said flatly. I blinked. "This house?" I asked slowly. "You're retired, you're not contributing like before. We're planning for children. We need privacy, stability." Stability? I had given my life for their stability. Daniel cleared his throat. "Dad, maybe it's better if you downsize. You know, something smaller, easier." Easier for whom? My chest tightened, but I refused to beg. "This house is paid off," I said calmly, "by me." Claire shrugged. "Times change." And in that moment, I saw it clearly. I was no longer the provider. Without income, I was just an old man taking up space. I looked at my son, the boy I once carried to school on rainy days. He avoided my eyes. That hurt more than Claire's words. The suitcase. That night, I packed quietly. Not because I legally had to leave. The house was still in my name. But dignity sometimes whispers, "Walk away." I paused by the oak tree Margaret had planted when Daniel was 5. I placed my hand against its bark. "I failed somewhere," I whispered to the dark. Then I drove away. At 64 years old, I felt discarded. The motel room smelled faintly of disinfectant and loneliness. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my suitcase. Anger came first. How dare they? Then doubt. Had I raised him wrong? Had I made life too easy for him? Then the worst feeling of all, uselessness. One afternoon, while sitting in a park watching children play, an elderly man sat beside me. "New retiree?" he asked with a knowing smile. "Yes." "Harder than you thought." I nodded. He introduced himself as Samuel and told me about a community center nearby that repaired donated items for struggling families. "They could use someone with hands like yours," he said. Something in his tone felt like an invitation back to purpose. A new foundation. The community center was nothing fancy, peeling paint, old wooden tables, but it buzzed with life. I fixed broken chairs, repaired leaking sinks, taught teenagers how to measure wood correctly. One boy, maybe 16, watched me closely. "My dad never showed me this stuff," he admitted. I handed him a hammer, "Then we'll learn together." For the first time since retirement, I felt needed not for money, but for wisdom. Weeks turned into months. The director of the center, Mrs. Alvarez, called me into her office one day. "Blake, we're expanding. We need someone to oversee maintenance and training. It's part-time but paid." Paid wasn't the important word. Trusted was. I accepted. With that steady income and my savings, I moved into a modest apartment. Small kitchen, 1 bedroom, a balcony overlooking a busy street. It wasn't grand, but it was peaceful. I hung Margaret's photo on the wall. We're rebuilding, I told her softly. The call. Nearly a year passed without a word from Daniel. Then one evening, my phone rang. Dad, he said, his voice strained, can we meet? We met at a cafe downtown. He looked thinner, older. Claire wasn't with him. We're struggling again, he admitted. We tried to refinance the house, but since it's in your name. He trailed off. I watched him carefully. Dad, we need your help. I took a slow breath. I sold the house, I said. Silence. You what? 6 months ago, I sold it and used the money to help fund the community center expansion. His face drained of color. That was our home. It was mine, I corrected gently, and a home is where respect lives. I wasn't respected there. Tears welled in his eyes. We are renting now, he whispered. I hope you understand something, I said quietly. Love doesn't mean ownership, it means responsibility and respect. He covered his face with his hands. I'm sorry, Dad. Those 2 words felt heavier than any apology I'd ever heard. Rebuilding what was broken. Forgiveness is not instant. It is a decision made repeatedly. I forgive you, I said, but trust takes time. Daniel began visiting the community center, at first awkwardly, then regularly. He watched me mentor the teenagers. He saw the respect in their eyes when they called me Mr. Blake. One afternoon, he pulled me aside. I didn't realize how much you still had to give, he admitted. That's the problem, I said softly. People think retirement means expiration. He nodded. I was wrong. Claire never came. Perhaps pride held her back, or perhaps she never truly believed she was wrong. But Daniel changed. And sometimes that is enough. The truth about worth. Today I am 64 turning 65. I wake before sunrise, not because I must, but because I choose to. I drink coffee slowly on my balcony. I walk to the center where laughter greets me. I am not wealthy, but I am rich in something greater, purpose. I once thought being forced out meant I had lost everything. Instead, I lost only an illusion. The illusion that my value depended on my paycheck. The illusion that love could survive without respect. The illusion that age meant decline. Sometimes being pushed out is life's way of pushing you forward. Moral of the story. Respect is the true foundation of any home. Without it, even the strongest walls collapse. Children must remember the sacrifices of their parents, not just when it's convenient, but always. And parents must remember this too. Your worth does not disappear when your income does. Retirement is not the end of purpose. Age is not weakness, and dignity should never be negotiated. My name is Blake. I am 64 years old, and there is still plenty of room for me in this world.